Hey everyone! So today I'm here to review the MAC Liptensity lipsticks. The collection of new lipsticks released September of last year, both online and in stores. It featured 24 lipsticks that all come in sleek, color-coded packaging, and they individually retail for $21 US, $25 in Canada, and contain 0.12 ounces of product each. This new formula is thankfully permanent, and as usual from the brand, features their signature vanilla scent. So enough rambling, let's get into the shades. First we have Burnt Violet, which is a dark blackened plum with cool undertones and a creamy, luminous finish. While this shade had a creamy texture and went onto lips easily, it applied pretty uneven and patchy, and only had semi-opaque color payoff. As usual with darker lip shades, such as this one, it will work best being paired over top of a matching lip liner, just so it'll have a more even looking coverage. Burnt Violet wore well for 6.5 hours and left behind a stain. In comparison, MAC's Ariana Grande was darker, cooler, and more burgundy. Urban Decay's Mirana was darker, cooler, and more maroon. Kat Von D's Homegirl was darker and more berry-toned. And OFRA's Mina was cooler and more matte. Next up we have Claretcast, which is a medium brightened berry fuchsia with cool undertones and a creamy satin finish. This shade applied smoothly, evenly, and had great pigmentation overall. I found that the color did drag on my lips during application, but once the product starts to warm up as you're applying it, it begins to glide onto lips much easier without creating jagged edges. Claretcast lasted 6.5 hours and left behind a stain. In comparison, Bite Beauty's Juniper was slightly darker and cooler. ColourPop's Cougar was brighter, cooler, and more fuchsia. MAC's Marsala was warmer and more red. ColourPop's Mars was brighter, cooler, and more matte. And MAC's All Fired Up was lighter, cooler, and more red. Driftwood is a medium muted mauve with neutral undertones and a creamy, luminous finish. This shade had a creamier consistency that was noticeably creamier than any of the other shades, but in turn, unfortunately, that did cause the color to slightly fall into lip lines during wear. I found pairing it over top of a lip liner did help prevent this from happening. It also extended the wear time and gave it a more overall opaque appearance. It's also the shade I am currently wearing on my lips today. Driftwood lasted 4.5 hours before fading. In comparison, Bite Beauty's Honeycomb was darker, warmer, and more peach. Bite Beauty's Sugarcane was cooler and much more pink. ColourPop's Littlestitious was lighter, cooler, and more pink. And Kat Von D's Noble was warmer, more peach, and matte. Next, we have Galaxy Grey, which is a medium muted gray lavender with neutral to cool undertones and a creamy, luminous finish. While the color did apply smoothly and evenly to lips, it did like to accentuate and cling to any imperfections or dry patches. It had great pigmentation, but this was a very weird performing shade for me. On some days, it wouldn't fall into my lip lines, but on other days, it fell into lip lines almost immediately after applying it. So either way, I would definitely recommend pairing this lipstick with a lip liner just to help prevent that from happening and to just make the wear time a lot longer. Galaxy Grey lasted 6.5 hours before fading. In comparison, MAC's Plum Princess was warmer and slightly more pink. Kat Von D's Ayesha was cooler, more purple, and matte. Kat Von D's Coven was cooler, much more blue-toned and matte. And NYX's Playdate was warmer and more pink. Now we have Marsala, which is a medium to dark berry red with cool undertones and a creamy satin finish. I found this shade performed much like Claretcast did. It went on very smoothly and evenly with bold pigmentation and almost gave lips a juicy appearance. It is one of the best performing shades within the line. Marsala wore well for 7 hours and left behind a stain. In comparison, Bite Beauty's Mulberry was cooler and more berry-toned. ColourPop's Lyin was slightly darker and cooler. MAC's D for Danger was cooler toned. And OFRA's Santa Ana was cooler and muted. Next is Medium Rare, which is a light to medium pink with hints of yellow, warm undertones, and a satin finish. This one had a noticeably thicker texture than any of the other shades. Luckily, this never caused any problems when applying it though. But what I kind of mean about the thicker texture is even after you started applying it and the product began to warm up on your lips, it still didn't feel as creamy. It didn't slide around as easily or feel nearly as moisturizing. It wasn't drying in any sense, but it didn't have that nice slip to it. And while it did have nice opaque pigmentation, because it wasn't as creamy, this was the shade that had the least shine out of all the lipsticks. Medium Rare lasted 5 hours before fading. In comparison, Bite Beauty's Cafe was warmer and slightly more peach. Bite Beauty's Cafe was cooler, and Bite Beauty's Sugarcane was also cooler. Lastly, we have Smoked Almond, which is a medium to dark brown with hints of pink, warm undertones, and a creamy, luminous finish. This was another excellent performing shade out of the range. It applied easily and evenly. It gave lips a smooth looking appearance. It had great color payoff and it felt lightly hydrating over time. Smoked Almond wore well for 6.5 hours before fading. In comparison, ColourPop's Ruffle was cooler and more brown. MAC's Pamela was cooler, muted, and glossy. MAC's Velvet Teddy was lighter and more nude. And MAC's Whirl was darker, muted, and more gray-toned. So overall, I do like these lipsticks. I think that the Liptensities were a great addition to the brand's range, and it's a huge plus that when they first released, they were instantly introduced into the permanent line. The formula also has their signature vanilla scent, which, at least to me, that's another plus. And while the texture is thicker than their regular lipsticks, they wear comfortably, they're lightly hydrating, they come in a great variety of shades, and they give lips a smoother appearance overall. So whether you're in the market for a new lipstick or you're just a lipstick fiend in general, I do recommend checking these ones out if you haven't already. So be sure to let me know in the comments below if you've tried the Liptensity lipsticks out for yourself and what your favorite color from the collection is. As always, don't forget to check out my blog for more details, photos, and swatches, as well as like, comment, and subscribe to show your support. If you'd like to give me a follow, I will have all of my social media listed here, as well as down in the description. As I always say, I hope you found this review helpful and hope that you're having a fantastic day, and thank you so much for watching.